Good morning. Been a while. I know I've been preoccupied, busy. Work's been busy. I just had a couple things. The other little couple realizations I'd share with you. I've been having some health issues, but and it just seems to keep persisting. But I'm just kind of experimenting with my diet to figure out, what helps with it, and I'm still working on that. There's a lot of good resources on the internet. The YouTube videos have been real helpful, and I've learned a tremendous amount. It's been a real education I'm grateful for. And seems like things are not getting worse. I've cut all the dairy out. That seems to help. Even butter. I was having butter in my coffee, that bullet coffee they call it, and just having a lot of gastro issues. And so I cut that out today, and it seemed a lot better this morning. And yesterday I didn't have any dairy. Just eating meat right now, and I'm going to do that for just as foreseeable future until my procedure on the 21st. I'm getting a colonoscopy the 21st, and they'll find out, hopefully get a lot more information. Anyway, the plan is to just keep moving ahead with what I'm doing, because I think it's the least inflammatory thing I can do. And I did do the bone broth for a while. I can't really say that it helped, but it's worth a try. I've tried several things, and it's hard to tell sometimes when you're in the middle of something if one thing's really helping or not. But it seems to be no dairy at all. I can't have any dairy right now. It just makes my gut just turn over. And even vegetables and greens, I've just taken everything out. Everything but eggs and meat. And I'll eat that for the next 3 days before my procedure. And hopefully things will lighten up a lot. But had a couple thoughts. So it's been kind of interesting having this issue, because it's such a wonderful opportunity when you have an illness, a sickness. I was reading this book that just came out that it's about Lology. He was the first president of the system, Heartfulness system. It wasn't called Heartfulness, but he was transmitting to his disciples, and it was interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff in it. It's anecdotal. It's just someone telling about what he did and all that. So it's not like it was a disciple of his who's describing all this stuff. But basically, what he would do is he helped people with their spiritual path, and he was. Some people he would have do a mantra meditation, which is what I did for many, many years. So it's kind of made me laugh, because I was thinking, you think, oh, what I was doing before was unnecessary or wasn't right. But then when you get I think I think it prepared me for Heartfulness, which I always thought that anyway. But I just thought it was interesting, because I'd never heard that before. Some people he would have do like chanting. Some people he would have do other stuff, and then some people he would have do the transmission, the meditation, the heart meditation. And so just depending on the level they were at or where they were at, that's what they did. And so it's very interesting to me, because I didn't know that. I thought that was interesting. And anyway, so I think having the master like that, the system. I had another. Okay, so let me just go over the realizations I had. So the other day I had a realization. Like, it came to me, just like a thought. It's okay to be sensitive. Okay, so it's funny that I had that thought, because all my life when I was a kid, I was real sensitive. People would call sensitive. So I probably got my feelings hurt easy, and I, got upset about things, but I was very sensitive to people. I'm very sensitive to energy and things like that. But, it's just when you're growing up in our society, it's just such a hard, it's just everything's so difficult. So sensitive people just get, smashed into the mud. And so a lot of this, it was just interesting that I had that thought, because I've spent a lot of time and energy trying to, build up my body and be strong and be tough and all these things. And look where it got me. It got me a fucked up gut. And it's funny. I mean, I have to I take credit for doing it to myself, but I did it to myself for, kind of the right reasons, but they turned out to be the wrong reasons. And it's just a huge life lesson. It was like a huge relief to me just for me just to go, oh, it's okay, It's okay that you're sensitive. It's okay to be sensitive and to let yourself work through this traumas and stuff that have happened to you, and just let it ride. Just ride out, just ride it out. It's all good. You're learning great stuff, great things. And then I had some thoughts about just, having, I had read one of, it's that channeled message that this lady, she channeled Babaji for years and years and years. And there's a whole archive of things. And I get a daily email with a newsletter thing with the daily message. And he was basically saying, through the channel message, that these masters, if you want to call them that, these guides, whatever you want to call them, they're on the other side basically working to help us. And we don't even know it. And consciously, we know very little. And so they're working. And then I had this thought, everybody has these. Everyone has these guides, whether you're following a system of meditation or a system of spiritual activity. It doesn't matter, actually. Well, it does and it doesn't. It doesn't in the fact that I do believe you're being assisted from the other side, whether you've believe in angels, or whether you don't believe in anything, you're just doing your daily activities. I do believe we're being assisted from the other side. But when you take up an active role in it, that's a whole different situation. So when you're actively assisting the work being done, it's kind of like a patient that goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, okay, this is what I think the problem is, and I'm going to prescribe this medication, and I'm going to prescribe this activity and these things. And if it's a good doctor, someone you can trust, someone who's not just ripping you off or leading you along to milk out money out of you, then you could say, oh, okay, I'm gonna be an active participant in this and actively heal yourself up. And I think that's what's happening with the spiritual path versus, going to a doctor and the doctor saying, okay, do this and this and this, and then you just ignore them. And so I think that there's a lot of really good information and stuff out there, and the guides work through that information. Our assistants, our helpers, whatever you want to call them, they're working through this information that's already there and assisting us through stuff. And I feel like I've been getting assistance with this issue that I've been having. Just, stuff will pop up on my YouTube and stuff that really helps me. And it's, you just have to trust, you have to trust. And then the last kind of realization I've been having is just this idea of surrendering and what that means. And it's not it's a good thing, it's a really good thing to surrender to that and just kind of step back and step away. And when you have issues come up in your life, they're catalysts for this surrender. You can go one of two ways with it. You can either cling on real tight, or you can let go. And I think the key is to let go. And not that you're not taking responsibility or anything like that, but you're just letting go and let this energy come in, let this godly energy, this godly presence just step in and give you some peace. At the end of the day, even if it's just peace, and let you kind of just harmonize with that higher energy and just become a little more subtle. Let it in. Just give it the opportunity to come in. You don't have to. You're not forcing anything. You're not demanding. You're just clearing space. And I think when you have one of the things in that book that Lalaji was saying, he said something about how no one can be a real master unless they've suffered some kind of physical ailment, or unless they had some kind of physical ailment or disease process. I don't know. It was kind of funny, but it was kind of weird, because it's like, I think that these disease processes and all that, they actually can teach us a tremendous amount. Being down and out, it's a humbling thing, really, really humbling. Anyway, just a couple thoughts. Hope you all have a good day.